Local Decision 2022, thanks for joining us. I'm Eric Nelson here on North Metro TV, and in the studio from Ward 3 Blaine City Council candidate Terra Fleming. And Terra, first of all, thanks for stopping by. I know these are hectic times. The countdown to November 8th, 2022 is on.
Yes.
Tell us about yourself. I know you're new to politics, aren't you?
100% new to politics, yes. Never run for office before. I'm a chiropractor. I've been practicing chiropractic for 32 years and it runs in my family. I'm married a second time to my husband, Giovanni, and between the two of us, we have 4 children. My stepdaughter, Jana, who lives in Florida, and my 3 boys, Parker, Evan, and Spencer. So
there's a steep learning curve here, and you have to hit the ground running, don't you?
I do.
What have you picked up so far as you knock on doors and talk to residents in Blaine about what this city needs and wants?
Oh, there's so much to learn. And I have to tell you, the last 5 months that I have been knocking on doors, it has changed me. I've learned so much from the residents. People that have been in city councils before, or they just have so many great ideas. But the things that the people are talking about at the doors, and 65 is a given. And we know that there's a lot in the works for that, and I'm going to, continue to work on that. But the things that concern the residents these days is the amount of residential growth over in Northeast Blaine. The schools and their infrastructure can't keep up. They're concerned about the smaller lot sizes and the packing of the people in. That's not why they came to Blaine. So that's something that I'm hearing at the doors. Wanting a downtown, we can talk about that a little bit more. The other big one is the safety of our streets. We just had some crime down in Northtown with the shooting and the carjacking. There's a lot of petty theft going on from the garages and from the cars, and so those are things that are what I'm hearing from the doors.
Let's go back to Twin Cities suburban sprawl, and Blaine might be a poster city for that. Do you think Blaine needs to pump the brakes on growth and maybe go a little bit slower? How do you view that?
I do. I've talked to moms where they have 3 elementary kids going to 3 different schools because Sunrise Elementary was at capacity before it even opened. Now they're having to add on. And so I think we need to pump those brakes, slow it down so that we can get things in place. There's not a lot out in northeastern Blaine for infrastructure, for stores, that kind of thing. So we need to bring more to that area and support that area, and so we got to slow it down in order to catch up.
You want a downtown.
Yes.
What's your vision of downtown Blaine? Why is a core gathering area crucial to this city?
I think it brings the community together, and it's a place where people can go and have some walkability, and they can meet their friends and go to a couple different bars and restaurants. But I think it really brings the community together. And if you look at Anoka downtown, it has that.
Yes.
And the people really desire it here in Blaine. Majority, not all, but the majority do.
And Blaine certainly has some great selling points. You have the National Sports Center. You have the 3M Open that now is a yearly event, PGA Tour. So those are things that can help galvanize the city, can't they?
100%. And the area that they're looking to put the downtown, is a little a ways from the soccer fields on the edge of it.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that'll be good for the traffic and all of that. But I think it's going to be a great area to draw the people that are here for soccer, to draw the people that are here for the PGA, and really, incentivize those areas.
All right, so Minnesota State Highway 65 is the elephant in the room. I think we all know that. Everybody has an idea and a vision of what should happen. How do you fast track this? Because it is impeding business. People are getting gummed up in traffic and getting frustrated. Do you have ideas on how to get this thing going?
I'm actually going to rely on more of the experts for that. I'm a chiropractor. I've never worked on roads before. I'm really proud of Blaine City Council. From what I've heard, I think that they just hired a federal lobbyist. So I think part of that is going to be trying to get the funding to get it moving forward faster. And how that looks, like I said, I am a chiropractor, and one of the things that I've learned as a chiropractor is I don't have all the answers. And when I don't have the answers for something, I have to go and look to the experts to help me find the answers to it and to collaborate together. And so I think that's key for me moving forward should I get elected into city council.
So you're not coming in as, hey, I'm a know-it-all, I'll solve all the problems on my own. You're going to delegate, and you're going to go to the experts. Is that what you're saying?
100%. I mean, for instance, let's just talk about the petty crime and the things that the residents are concerned about. I'm not a police officer. They are. So let's talk with the police chief. Let's talk with the officers that are on the streets and find out what do we need to do to kind of curb this. And then we as a city council members need to come alongside them to make it happen for the residents.
How do you take a look at this city now and then fast forward 10 years from now in 2032? What would you like Blaine to be? What kind of a city do you want it to be?
I want it to be a safe city. I think that is something that the residents really desire, the safety to be able to have their kids go out and play and not have to worry about them. I would love to see Northtown revitalized and a thriving part of Blaine. And I know that there are some revitalization plans, long-term plans there. So I would love to see that come back and be a important part, because people don't want to go down there. And they used to, because we had the mall. So I think that would be an important part, the downtown, you know, selectively and strategically building up the infrastructure and the commercial for Northeast Blaine. I just want people to love their community.
So you've had literally your feet on the ground knocking on doors. What are the top 2 or 3 things that you're hearing from people about Blaine? What do they want?
Well, they want that downtown. They want 65 fixed now. And, you know, that's not going to happen now. And they understand that. And the safety, it's really the safety. They want to make sure that our police force continues to be fully funded. And if we need more, we figure that out.
I know you value parks and green spaces. We've talked about maybe slowing down the growth in Blaine, which seems to be going at warp speed. How critical is it to have parks and green spaces available to the residents?
I think it's very critical, and it's the residents love to have a place to take their kids. The problem that we have with some parks is they're not being taken care of as well as people would like. So I think that needs to be addressed. But the parks are super important. The trails are super important. They want them to connect. They love being able to walk their dogs and just take their walks, and especially on a day like today when it's going to be 80 degrees. So it's super important. The other thing that people are concerned about is if we take away all the open spaces and all of the trees, where do the animals go? And people love that we have wildlife in Blaine. They absolutely love it.
Yeah, and you talk about walking the dogs and trail accessibility. I keep hearing a lot about, hey, Blaine needs more sidewalks. It needs to be a more walkable city, and I think that's probably something you're in favor of, correct?
Yes, well, and in my area, in what we consider older Blaine, it's northeast Blaine, we don't have sidewalks, and that is an issue because parents have kids that have to walk to school, and they're concerned about their kids, having to walk on the street. So I think that's something that we address and have conversations about, because that's a safety issue.
When did you wake up and say, you know what, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to run for city council? Because like you said, you've been in the chiropractic business for decades, and now you're going to make this pivot. And if you win, all of a sudden you have major responsibilities.
I do, and I'm prepared for that. I'm ready for that. The itch kind of started before 2020, but 2020 was pivotal for me. And I saw how important our local leadership is. I'd been raising kids and running a business, and I took for granted the leadership here in Blaine. People like Tom Ryan, Dave Clark, Dick Swanson, and so many others that have dedicated years and their time to our city. And I kind of went, why not me? I've raised my kids here, I've had my business, but I want to retire here. And so that was my motivation. The motivation has changed dramatically now just because I've been out knocking doors for 5 months and meeting the residents. They've opened their lives to me. I've been invited to a chili cook-off where I've got to meet, tons of residents. I'm meeting their kids, I'm meeting their grandkids, their dogs. I'm hearing about how their spouse died within the last 2 years. I'm hearing how they're having their first child. And so it's become more real for me. And these people believe in me. And so I am so dedicated to being the best city council member I can for the people that are supporting, well, all of them, not just the ones that are supporting me, because I know there's ones that aren't. And that's okay. I want to be the best city council member for my community.
When you hear the phrase career politician, some voters like to get away from that. They want, some fresh people, fresh voices. You're not a career politician. Does that work in your favor?
I think it does. I hear it a lot every day when I'm out. I want a fresh face in Blaine. I don't want somebody who's been there for years. We want somebody that's going to bring a fresh perspective.
So if you get elected on November 8th, bullet point your top 3 agendas as you begin the process of being a council person in Ward 3.
Well, number one, I've got a big learning curve, so I am going to dive in and learn about how this city runs and what we can and cannot do. But for the people, I really want to be a voice for the people. So that comes down to trying to slow that growth, get that downtown, work on 65, and the whole list of other things. But those are probably the top 3, and making sure that our streets are safe. I live here too. I want my kids and my families and all the families in Blaine to feel safe every day.
And slowing down growth sometimes might mean saying no to money or, a cash infusion. How do you convince other council people or the residents that, hey, we don't necessarily have to take everything that's coming in. We should preserve some of what we have?
I think it really comes down to, why did you run? I mean, we're running to be a representative of the people. And we have to listen to the residents. They're the ones who make our community. They're the ones that we're representing. So we have to listen to them too, of what they want, but we also have to do what's best for the city, and there has to be that give and take.
And I'll circle it back to 65 before we wrap it up. When it's up and running, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. How much of a game changer will that be for Blaine, Minnesota?
I think everybody's going to breathe a sigh of relief. They'll actually want to drive on 65 again. So many people tell me, after 2 o'clock, I'm on Radisson Road or University. I won't travel it. So I think it's going to be a really good thing.
All right, Terra, one more chance to tell the voters out there why they should check your name in the ballot booth.
I'm passionate about being a voice for Blaine. I really, really am. And I have the time to devote to this. I work part-time. My kids are older teenagers. I have the time, I have the passion and the desire to keep Blaine a great city and to work really hard for the people.
Thanks for stopping by.
No, thank you, and it's been great to meet you.
Yeah, Terra Fleming, running for City Council, Blaine, Ward 3, and Local Decision 2022 continues.